What is up, guys? Welcome. Crypto FUD. And I feel like it's been a while. I feel like it has been a while since I've been streaming other than members only streams. We've been doing a lot of members only streams lately. My boy Ricky's in the house. What's going on, bro? Ricky! What's going on, bro? What is going on? Gonna give everybody a few seconds to jump in. We're gonna jump into here. Not too long, nothing too crazy other than obviously we have the FOMC meeting tomorrow. My boy Flip's in the house. We're good to go. We are good to go. Flip's in the house. What's going on, brother? Gina, we got the whole squad in here. Gina, what's going on? Is this a members only stream? What is going on, guys? Welcome. Happy Tuesday. Hope you guys are having a great day today. Let's just jump right into this. All right, so right now, Bitcoin's sitting at around 94,672 to be exact. Today, not a terrible day. Obviously, if we zoom out, you can see since we've made these local highs at around 97.9, a little bit over, we've come down slightly. Looks like we've basically found a local bottom for right now, and we've been consolidating. I'm going to give you my views. What do I think is necessarily going to happen, particularly tonight, tomorrow, and in the near future, right? So let's just do this. So right now, like I said, Bitcoin sitting, hovering around that 94,600. Today, we actually did drop down to about 93,003, somewhere around there. It actually, as we started to break down below there, it did look a little sketchy. I'm not going to lie. When I started seeing that we broke down that low, it was very brief though. It was very brief, which is good to see. Obviously, if you're bullish right now, breaking below this 93.6, 93.7 area is a big spot right here, right? Because you can see we've been holding it as some very big support as of lately, as the last few days. But even before we broke out to that 97, we were using the same level as like a consolidation area. And I'm going to show you as far as volume, this is an area where it's just heavily traded, right? A lot of buys, a lot of sales. This is an area where we seem to keep consolidating whether the next move is going to be up or down, right? So very, very big spot. Obviously, we want to hold this level as far as, finding it as some support to give us, some good areas for us to bounce, particularly at that 94.6, 94.7 area. So we'll see if this area can hold. Obviously, tonight we have the FOMC meeting, or tomorrow. I said tonight. I'm sorry. I'm thinking something else at the same time. Tomorrow, we obviously have the FOMC meeting. Let's see here. We've been covering this for the last few months as far as this particular meeting. I particularly was saying few months back that we probably were going to see some kind of a reduction in interest rates because it is due, right? But we haven't seen it yet, and from what the markets are pricing in for right now is it looks like we're most likely not going to see it. And I keep saying most likely, emphasizing on that because Ricky said is not letting me like the stream for some reason. YouTube is they're shadow banning me, bro. Just kidding. They're shot. Maybe leave and come back. But what I was saying is emphasizing on the most likely because I think the best scenario would be tomorrow. Everybody is thinking that Jerome Powell is going to just basically do another pause. And what if we're living in some crazy times right now, right? What if Jerome Powell tomorrow comes out and he is dovish and they reduce interest rates at least by 0.25%? I think the markets would absolutely go apeshit. Not only Bitcoin and crypto, but the stock markets would absolutely rip off of that news. Would it be long term? Who knows? But definitely would be a freaking massive run if we saw some kind of a reduction tomorrow, just because the market is already priced in that that we're not going to see any kind of a reduction. We're just basically going to see a pause. Right, so that's basically what what we can likely see for tomorrow. We also have June. A lot of people have been talking about June because up until maybe a few weeks ago, it was looking like most likely June was going to get the reduction in interest rates. And as of now, we have 68% saying 68% of the market pricing in that we're most likely not going to see even a reduction in June, which I'm starting to really think this is hard to believe, right? You guys know I was thinking most likely May. If we don't see it tomorrow, if Jerome Powell does not reduce rates by June, I'm starting to think that he's sabotaging the interest rates and potentially the markets as of now. You know, it's just insane that we're pretty much the only country that has not started to or continue to reduce interest rates, and we're keeping our interest rates so high up. And interest rate inflation has been giving us decent numbers, as it's showing that it's been coming down for the most part. Now, Jerome Powell's argument is the tariffs, right? It seems to be the argument for everything, right? Come buy a car right now before tariffs hit, right? Come buy your couch right now before tariff hits. We have to charge you more on here because of tariffs, you know, and I can't reduce interest rates because of tariffs. It seems like that's the excuse for everything right now. And, you know, it is what it is. It kind of worked at the beginning, but now, even in June, I think if this doesn't happen in June, a lot of people are going to be scratching their head like, what is Jerome Powell doing? And what is really the motive behind, you know, the reason why, you know, the United States is the only country, Europe, and I mean across the board, have all been reducing their interest rates starting like a few months ago. And we are literally the only country that are still holding tight, other than the reductions that we saw at the end of last year that started off to look like we were going to start reducing rates fast. And then obviously we already know Jerome Powell came out in December and said, oh, actually, instead of 4 reductions in interest rates for 2025, we're probably only looking at maybe 1 or 2. That's right when we started pretty much coming down from all-time highs. We did spike up that 109 real fast during the inauguration, or during, you know, whenever we were getting the new people in office, but it was very brief, and we pretty much, you know, you guys know the rest of the story. So we won't sit here and beat a dead horse on this, but hopefully tomorrow, you know, I'm pretty sure we're going to see that, you know, pause, but never, you know, don't underestimate what could happen tomorrow. We could potentially see some kind of a reduction in interest rates. I don't think it's going to happen, but if it does, the markets would go absolutely insane for tomorrow. So we'll have to see. Tomorrow we will stream. It'll be after the fact, so we'll kind of see how the markets are after everything is said and done. Now, another thing too is, I said, don't just focus on, you know, the pulse, right? Focus on, and this is what the markets are going to be looking at, is how is Jerome Powell conducting himself, as far as, is he coming out dovish? Is he coming out hawkish? Is he giving us any signals that maybe June we might see, you know, or most likely see some reduction? I think the markets are really going to be looking for that. And also, obviously, the questions that are going to be asked, you know, they could ask some questions and you never know what his response is. Is it going to be dovish? Is it going to be hawkish? That's what's going to really probably steer the markets for a lot of volatility tomorrow. So, you know, it's not just, oh, we're going to pause, that's it, the meeting's over. No, it's going to be probably we're going to pause, but, and then, you know, he's going to give his speech and give out what he's going to be saying as far as what he foresees as far as the Fed's position. So we could see some ups and downs tomorrow. And if he does pause, but he's also being very dovish, the markets might rub off, like, you know, just like maybe we see that initial sell-off, or maybe we see a little bit of downward movement, and then potentially the markets could be like, you know what, he's signaling that we might see some kind of a reduction in June, and the markets could potentially run off of that. So that's what I'm saying. You know, just because the markets 90% are saying, or 95, whatever, 96% are saying that we're going to see a pause, things could end up being dovish tomorrow in regards to how he pretty much, you know, basically the verbiage of what Jerome Powell might say tomorrow. So we'll see how that works out tomorrow after the fact. Who knows? Looking at the markets, the bubbles for the top 100 right now, you can see pretty much across the board, pretty much red. Today, I mean, like I said, Bitcoin is down slightly. I mean, Bitcoin's literally down a 0.01% today. It's pretty much been in this consolidation zone. If you mapped it out, obviously when we dropped down to here, we were down like maybe 1 or 2%. But I mean, Bitcoin's been really stagnant, other than maybe seeing this downward move from this massive run that we had just a week or two ago. I mean, I think a lot of people don't understand We came from freaking 75,000 dollars all the way up to 97,000 and some change. I mean, that was a big move for Bitcoin. So we're seeing somewhat of a cool off. Also, the bear flag that I pointed out, obviously we broke towards the downside. What I say a lot of times, what bear flags will usually play out to doesn't necessarily always mean like that, but it looks like for this part, it has. Is that the only downside that we're going to see off that bear flag potentially? One thing I did want to point out too, and I don't want you guys to think that I'm just like 100% bearish right now on the markets. I'm just going by what I see, is a potential head and shoulders has formed, right? You can see we have some kind of a shoulder, we have the head, and then we have some kind of a consolidation, or on the other side of this, some kind of another shoulder playing out. Usually head and shoulders tend to be towards the downside. On the opposite, an inverse head and shoulders would be obviously bullish. So doesn't necessarily mean that we're heading down. I'm just pointing it out. Head and shoulders has kind of formed on the charts. And this isn't just for, I'm looking at the 15 minutes. You can look at the 1 hour. You can see it a little clearer, right? We can move over to even like the 4 hour, I believe. It's still there. I mean, it's there. I don't think you're really hearing about it on Bitcoin, or I'm sorry, on YouTube, because it seems like right now, if you were to pull like 100 YouTubers, right, and you just look at their videos, 97% of them are all bullish. They're all telling you that we're going to $500,000 and this is it, right? I'm not here to disagree whatsoever. I'm just, calling some stuff out like the bear flag and these head and shoulders, little things that are just popping up that might just tell me that we may have a little bit of a move towards the downside continuation, possibly continue, right? Now, I could be completely wrong. This could be the little consolidation that we need, and we bounce up and we start getting back up towards these higher levels, these higher 90s. Easily can happen, right? Just because something's on the chart does not mean that tomorrow whales aren't going to start freaking going crazy and buying in. One thing I wanted to point out, a couple things. We have our volume right here. If you can see, this is basically where we're at right now. I know, bear with me on the drawings. I'm going to show you guys some stuff here, but you can see on the drawings right here, this is a high level right here where we basically there's just massive volume at these levels. That's why the bears and the bulls right now are just, they're going at it in the back end right now. Buys and sells like crazy. We saw that drop down to about 93K today. And if you blinked, you came back 15 minutes later, we were right back up, right? So, obviously we're seeing some big sales, but we're also seeing retail and the ETFs eating it up and buying all that stuff right back up, and we're bouncing right back up. So if we talked about this on the members only stream, I think it was yesterday or the day before, and I said clearly the bulls are still in power. Right now, it's like 50-50. They are battling right now. Who is going to freaking win? I think right now, only reason why we're getting a little bit of the downward movement is because the uncertainty from the Fed meeting and stuff like that. And there's been a little bit more talk about tariffs. The tariffs still haven't been resolved, and just there's a lot of stuff going on. Like I said, both ends. You have so much bullish stuff going on, and you do have just some macro bearish stuff that's been popping up, and I think that's why we are just literally at this area right now where it's just like, who is going to budge right now? Who's going to budge? One thing I wanted to point out was, so you guys know I'm always comparing this particular year, this particular market that we're in, not saying that it's the exact same, but just always comparing to 2020, 2021's run, right? So I wanted to show, so obviously 2020, we saw the run, 2021 in May, we did start to see a big drop. Well, I'm not saying that this is exact because we already kind of saw this drop, similar, just the last few weeks, right? But what I noticed was that after the drop, we painted out some kind of a bear flag, which we saw a small drop after the bear flag. And this is where I'm kind of matching the two for right now, was after, this is in 2021, after we saw this drop down in the market, right? This was for about 2 to 3 months, kind of similar to what we saw just recently, right? We started to have a nice little move towards the upside, and it was like, oh, this is it. We're breaking out again. Yes, we're doing good. Obviously, the numbers aren't the same. This was when Bitcoin was, all-time highs were only at the time 65K. We dropped down 50% back down to about 28K, but Bitcoin bounced at some point after about 12 weeks and we ran back up to about 53,000, you can see, right? But what I'm focused on, not the numbers, we painted out a bear flag, right? We broke out of the bear flag towards the downside, and look what we did. We dropped down and we consolidated. We found some support at a certain level. Doesn't matter at this level, but what I want to point out was bear flag, dropped, consolidated, right? Now let's go to where we're at right now, and it's almost similar, right? We saw all-time highs, right? We saw all-time highs. We dropped down about 2 months, right? We painted a bear flag. Now I'm thinking if everything was to, and things could be completely different, but it almost looks so similar to where we could easily maybe see some downward movement, find that support, because if we'll go back, we didn't drop down in 2021. We didn't go back down to these lows. We dropped down. I did the math, and if we did something similar, that would be somewhere placing us around 88,000, which would be a spot where we would have some massive support in this day and age, in this price range that we're in. 88,005 to be exact, somewhere around there would be where we would find that support consolidation, and that's where the drawing comes in, to where we would bounce, and basically all the buyers would basically come back to overrun the sellers, aka bulls versus bears, right? So you can see again, we had the drop, bear flag, we found that support, and that's pretty much where I think I don't think we've gotten there yet at that support, because when I did the math and I dropped these movements were a lot, they were more, right? Our drop from what we saw versus this in 2021, this was a 50% drop. But if you go after this bear flag and you drop down, this was about, I believe, a 20 or 30% drop, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 22% drop right there. And if we come over here, we can't really compare the exact numbers, because you have to remember, Bitcoin's a lot bigger than it was then, right? It's literally double its size. So the drops are going to be a lot less, right? It's very rare that you're going to see probably a 50% drop in Bitcoin unless something crazy happens, right? So the drop from our all-time high was a lot less this time. And I'm thinking it's going to be the same thing when we drop down, if we drop down. That's why I put us somewhere around the 88.5 before we consolidate and potentially run up. So just a scenario that I do have, right, as far as looking at the charts. I mean, like I said, we could easily not even acknowledge any of this stuff and start moving towards the upside. But the way things are pointing, right, the way things are pointing is it might be that the markets need to cool off as we've been cooling off. A lot of this macro stuff needs to get resolved, right, as it should in the next few weeks. That would put us in some kind of a consolidation area. And then eventually, as everything's getting resolved, we start moving up. Because remember, the tariffs are the reason why we broke down, right? And necessarily they're not resolved as of now. And remember, we only went through a 90-day pause, which I don't know the exact day when we went into these tariffs or anything like that, but I mean, it should be rolling back around here soon. I've been saying this in the Discord. This is Trump. Whether you love him or hate him, he wants the markets to do well, right? Which, as an investor, that should be good for you, right? If you're bullish in the market. And what I noticed, I was very surprised today as the markets were slightly down that they didn't send Bassett out or one of the people that are, in the White House come out and basically just, say something to ease the markets, because that seems to be what they do, right? They let the markets kind of do their thing. I'm anticipating that most likely we will probably in the next few weeks start getting some word in regards to right before the deadline it hits with those 90-day tariffs, Pauls, that there's been some resolved with a lot of these countries. So, and that would be positive for the market. So we'll see. Ricky, I'm seeing what you're saying, Ricky. It looks like, yeah, right now we're at 95.3. So I would expect, honestly, tonight some, ups and downs. I mean, we'll see how it plays out. With everything. Let's jump into a couple things here. My neck's kind of bothering me. Why is the crypto market down? We kind of already know here. We already know what's going on. So the crypto market faces minor selling pressure from both macroeconomic factors and Bitcoin's technicals. On Tuesday, May the 6th, which is today, the overall crypto market cap declined 0.5%, which is basically nothing burger, falling below 3 trillion to 2.94 trillion. The main driver of the decline mirrored the same factors weighing on equities. The Dow Jones lost more than 400 points, or 1%, while other major indices also fared poorly. Typically, Bitcoin and the broader crypto market are correlated with the stocks, which likely means that similar factors influence both. But if you really compare, Bitcoin actually has been holding very well compared to stocks, in my opinion. In this case, macroeconomic uncertainty and renewed fears over Trump's tariff contributed to the bearish sentiment. Notably, just a day prior, Trump's announced new tariffs on pharmaceuticals after already targeting movies. These new tariffs announced are causing concern among traders as they suggest Trump is not backing away from his aggressive trade stance. Despite the overall decline, Bitcoin has been more resilient than most altcoins, managing to increase its dominance by 64.1%, the highest level since 2021. Still, while Bitcoin recovered some of its earlier losses today from the low of 93.4, its price is still just slightly below what it was 24 hours ago, registering a 0.01 loss of 94.8. So, and that's pretty much where we're at right now. We're a little bit above this, and this article was from earlier this morning, so you kind of can see we really haven't, Bitcoin's been holding strong. I don't know what I was expecting today with the FOMC meeting coming, because FOMC meetings are so tricky, right? If word gets out, that Jerome Powell's going to maybe flip the script and maybe reduce interest rates, we're going to see a run, right? And then obviously the markets already have priced in that we're probably going to see a pause. So it's really, I think the meeting tomorrow is going to be a not much. I think that it's going to be not much, but if for whatever reason we get thrown a bone here and he drops the interest rates, it could, right? So, EOS, he said, please check out the alt rap crow. Yeah, bro, I'm going to bring that up, and I'm glad that you reminded me. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat, brother. I'm going to, right after we're done with this article, I'm going to bring that up because I've actually been, I'm going to explain some things about that project and gold, right? Because gold was doing pretty good today as well. So Bitcoin faces technical pressures. One of the reasons for Bitcoin's underwhelming performance comes down to technical factors, which is unlikely to change very soon. Specifically, Bitcoin is facing a long-term dynamic resistance that started forming after its all-time high in January. It's basically, Ricky loves to put trend lines, right? But those are short-term. They're looking at, I can't zoom in on this, but I'm sure they're probably looking at the daily or the weekly. I have no idea. But they're basically showing some kind of a trend as of now where we really have not broke above the trend, and it's technically been even breaking up to that 97 on this chart. They're claiming was not enough yet for us to see some kind of a breakout. So since then, Bitcoin has consistently stayed below the resistance point, with the last breakout attempt on the 23rd, which was when we broke up to 97. This means that further declines are likely, especially as its price has passed the point of control. This is unless a major catalyst enables it to break this long-term resistance. EO said they posted a screenshot of my wallet on the X account. Of your wallet? All right, we'll pull it up here, bro. So EOS, thank you so much for the 2 super chats, bro. I do appreciate that. He's basically talking about a project that we've been following on DeFi, which is on Chronos. I don't know if I pronounce this correct. Is it Arum Trust? So a couple things with this project. It's pretty much how the project's working is what they're doing is they're using a lot of the liquidity and they're buying gold with it, right? And then what they're doing is they're weekly selling portions of the gold and then buying back in on the project, right? If that's my understanding correctly. So what I've noticed, EOS, a couple things. is it's holding a big support level that we pretty much have talked about, which is that 46 level. I particularly think that anything below or around that 46 level, right? So 46 or below, which you've had maybe a few times to accumulate around those areas, is a good spot to be buying in. Market cap, $500,000, so fairly low. Liquidity locked in at 60K. I mean, right now, what I've been saying for Chronos is the volume has dropped down like massively, right? And Chronos goes through this where volume dries up. Projects, even if they're good projects, you'll see them kind of go dormant for a while. And then out of nowhere, boom, like all this money comes flowing back into Chronos and these projects start running again. So that's why I think right now you're in a good consolidation zone where you have that support at around the 46, 47 level, and you have resistance at around the 58 level. If you can see, you've broken out a couple times, but it keeps falling right back into that channel. So bottom, look for the 46, 47 as a good, my opinion, potential spot to accumulate, and that 57 is, as of now, some resistance. But what I've noticed is that the project was doing good today. Gold, even though gold, and this might be Ricky, you see this? Gold has somewhat, since the market has closed, seen somewhat of a sell-off, right? And what I've noticed lately, right, is right now, Bitcoin and gold are inverse right now. Bitcoin and gold are inverse, meaning if gold is up, Bitcoin is down, right? And if Bitcoin is up, gold is down, right? And the reason is because you're seeing still the market right now. When we pull up the fear and greed index, we're slapped right there in at the 50, the neutral, right? So this, right back to what I was saying, you have half the market that is like, oh, Bitcoin's going to $1 quadrillion, and then the other half of the market is like, they don't trust the pump and they're thinking something's up, right? So what's happening is you're seeing a lot of money coming in and out of gold, right? Scared money goes into gold, and money that actually, is like, all right, the market's, we're doing good, we're about to pump, it's coming out of gold and either going into the stock market and or into Bitcoin. Because right now, you can't really say alts are quiet. Alts are quiet. Bitcoin is basically running the show as of now. Obviously, with the 64% dominance, Bitcoin's running the show right now, right? But what I've been noticing is that the other day, it was last week, Bitcoin was having a fantastic week last week, right? Bitcoin was running up. Gold was coming down, right? Because you had that scared money coming out of gold and going into Bitcoin. And the stock market as well. Stock market had a decent week last week. Well, look what's happened in the last few days. Gold bounced at a big spot, which was support at around that 32.10, and it started to move towards the upside. And what have we seen on our side, right? We've seen Bitcoin kind of cool off, right? We haven't seen a massive sell-off or anything, but you've seen somewhat of a cool off, right? And it's like they're running inverse. It normally, I'm not going to say it normally does this or it doesn't do this. This is normally a sign of the markets are just uncertain right now, right? You're seeing money coming in and out of gold, which usually means if money's flowing into gold, the market's scared, right? Money coming out of gold, the market's starting to get back comfortable and buying in on risk on assets. That's pretty much the easiest way I can explain that right there. The reason why I bring up gold is because this project is backed by gold on Chronos. So if you believe that gold is going to continue to move towards the upside, which this could be a hedge against, potentially if we do see that consolidation, that scenario that we talked about at the beginning of the stream, this could be a play right here. Where, essentially, if you're buying in on this project, EOS, you're essentially kind of trading gold, because that's what they're doing with the liquidity of this project is they're buying gold, right? And they're using the profits from gold and buying back in on the project, So personally, I think long term, if this project can survive, I think it's a solid project, honestly. I don't mind like a crypto that is backed by gold. I don't mind it, I think any kind of exposure to potentially gold, I'm not a big gold guy, but I think, gold's here to stay. So if it has any kind of exposure to gold, I don't think it's a bad thing, especially if they would have dropped. I mean, they've been out for about a month, right? If gold's been running for like the last year, if they had dropped like a year ago, this project probably would be a 10x from where it's at right now, right? Gold's, like I said, been running for the last year. It actually hit all-time highs probably about 2 months ago, and it's kind of been cooling off since then. So, I'm curious to see what's going to happen here. I think it's really based off the market, and what we're going to see in the next few months with the market. So, decent project. I think long term, if this project can survive, I think you got a good one here. Obviously, with the volume, we're going to want to see that volume spike up, but it will come as Chronos, kind of moves up as well. So, thank you so much for the super chats, bro. I appreciate that. But yeah, gold. It's crazy. Aftermarket gold's moving down right now. I'm curious to see what is let's see what the futures are looking like right now for the S&P. If you're ever looking for futures while the markets are closed, you can look up this mini S&P. This is going to be your futures on the market. And look at this. I mean, S&P spiked. The futures spiked. Obviously, we've been running parallel with the S&P for Bitcoin. And you can see a little, we got support somewhere around this 5,600 area on the S&P. And you can see somewhat of a move towards the upside. So I wouldn't be surprised while we're talking, the White House just came out and just sent out somebody and be like, go out there. Yes, we're about to be making deals with 197 countries tomorrow, right? It seems to be that's what it is. That's the only reason why I'm kind of just like, I'm looking at the market. I'm bullish long term on Bitcoin, 100%. But I've really been looking at the market and I'm like, bro, is this like artificially pumping right now? Are we artificially pumping right now based off of just like these possible tariff deals and whatever the hell is going on? Because historically speaking, May is not a good time for the stock market or crypto, right? May is not a good month. And we've been kind of seeing it like we've been seeing, obviously May hasn't been a bad month for crypto or the markets, given that we were kind of bouncing off of lows that we just saw, the last few weeks. It's just, we're in some weird times right now. And like I said, every time the markets have really bad days, the market usually we usually see on the news something good news in regards to tariffs and whatever the case is. So I don't know. I'm just been kind of looking at it side eyes, like who knows exactly what we have in store for now. Ricky, what the hell are you talking about, bro? Rawls, what's going on, brother? I can't even repeat what you just typed in there, bro. That's a for sure ban on YouTube if I can't even bring that up. Rawls, what's going on, bro? He said Julia OS on Solana. We'll pull it up for you, bro. Is that OS or 0S? It looks like a 0. Nope. What is this, an AI project? How did I know? I just looked at the background. Like, it looks AI. Yeah, I got to keep it PG, bro. I can't repeat that stuff. They already ask me every time we go live. They're like, is this kid friendly? I'm like, no. I always put no, even though, we're kid friendly around here. Just in case I start cursing like a sailor. If you guys ever want to see me cursing, I'm usually cursing in the members only stream. Not like bad cursing, but So what is this? Open source platform for building and deploying and managing AI powered agents in swarms across multiple blockchains. It provides a robust backend in Julia, a flexible node CLI Python buildings and suites of tools for cross-chain DeFi and agent-based applications. I mean, it sounds great, right? If that was like 2 years ago, you'd be like, holy shit. But there's been like 7,000 of these projects that pop up, like, I don't know. I'm not saying that it's not it's got an $8 million market cap. It's on Solana. Liquidity's locked in. Volume's not bad. So, I mean, it looks decent. Trend pointing towards the upside. Punk's in the house. What's going on, bro? I mean, it's definitely the trend. I mean, if it can hold this trend, you'll probably see some more upward movement. The project's only been 13 days, so we'll see if this thing can survive. Particularly, I would say the only support level that I can really provide, bro, is off this very small chart, is really going to be this 48 level. Right? You can see it kind of went on this crazy giga pump, came back down to reality, and it's bounced off this level multiple times. So, I mean, if it does break the trend, I could say maybe this 46, 47 level would have to hold. So, but can't really do much with this chart. We'll let it naturally evolve itself, and we'll see. Looking at my list for DeFi today, really nothing. Myro actually is up 3%. Nothing too crazy. But other than that, everything's pretty much down on DeFi. Maniki's getting hurt. Art, what's going on, bro? Got the squad in here. I wanted to pull up. I don't even know what the hell this is, but it says Representative Waters. She always has to yell. Representative Waters. Waters blocks joint House crypto hearing. Cites Trump's conflict of interest. So the Dems have been really coming at Trump due to his, close ties with crypto and his crypto coin and stuff like that. So just months after taking a euphoric victory lap around Washington to celebrate the new administration, it appears the crypto industry has a Trump problem. 2025 was supposed to be a historic year for crypto legislation. With a favorable White House and established bipartisan support for policy, lawmakers and industry members expected to have new laws passed before midterm elections. But as Ben wrote about yesterday, 9 Democrats pulled support for the current vision of the stablecoin-focused Genius Act. They cited wanting stronger provisions around anti-money laundering and national security, for example. Then there are concerns over the president's family's crypto business endeavors. Thanks to Trump's meme coin launch in mid-January, tensions have been building since before Inauguration Day. In the months since, World Liberty Financial has floated stablecoin plans and recruited investors. Many Democrats, like financial service ranking members Maxine Waters, insisted this is a clear conflict of interest and lawmakers should not be advancing policy that would directly benefit Trump's business incentives. Now, you have to remember, I mean, depending on what aisle you fall on, right, we're not political whatsoever. You have one side that, they don't like Trump, right? So they're really going to kind of oppose anything that he's doing. Me personally, without getting into anything, it is a little crazy to see that, like the president and people real close to him, like advocating for certain projects. Like as being in crypto, I think it's awesome, right? But at the same time, I do understand why these people are like, well, it's a business, it's a conflict of interest, right? I feel like he should really just back off of it and let the people around him, do their thing, as far as with that. And I mean, he's done that for the most part. You really don't hear him really talking much about like Bitcoin. He can't talk about the Trump coin, right? By law, he cannot talk about that whatsoever after he was put in office. But like, I just feel like, when you have like, you have his sons, which, they've been heavily involved in crypto, right? But with their dad being president, it's a little bit, like I understand why these people are getting some kind of an argument. Let's not give them an argument, So I would, let kind of distance himself from that stuff. And but also, he ran off this, that he wants to be he wants America to be the mecca of crypto, which is great, right? Which is great. I think when he dropped his meme coin, a lot of us were kind of like, just because I was like, bro, like, I think it's great for a president. We never had a president talk about crypto like this, but dropping a meme coin in the same week too, you're like, bro, it's kind of hard to be here, like speaking positive when you're doing stuff like that, like, I don't know. I think that probably, and then also remember when the Trump coin dropped, everything on Solana took a shit. Everything on Solana took a shit, and all the money went flowing into the damn Trump coin too. So they're basically saying that I'm deeply concerned that Republicans aren't just ignoring Trump's corruption. They are legitimizing Trump and his family. Obviously, we know these people don't like him whatsoever. Like I said, these people don't like him, period. But I do understand where they're coming from in a sense. So I'm trying to think of or look to see if there's anything other than like bashing each side. Groups have proposed combining the market structure and stablecoin bills into a single piece of legislation. The theory was that it's extremely unlikely lawmakers will pass two crypto bills, but the problem with one super bill is it gives everyone a lot more to fight over. So the new market structure discussion draft in the House is similar to bills from the last session of Congress, FIT 21. We talked about that plenty of times. Generally speaking, the legislation seeks to clarify the roles of the SEC and the CFTC. It also outlines the process for listing tokens, consumer protections, and disclosures requirements. A big difference between this draft and the FIT 21 is that the new version does not include the term decentralized system. A key criticism of FIT 21 was that the focus was on decentralization was too great, potentially making it more challenging for certain token issuers to be compliant. So they're basically the revised bill is basically trying to take out not focus so much on decentralized, right? And then the previous bill was basically focusing on decentralized, and we're talking about regulation, right? We're talking about DeFi essentially. As we all know, DeFi is the Wild West, but I think that DeFi is amazing the way it is because obviously there are scams and stuff like that, but I mean, it's the Wild West, right? This is where you could go and buy a freaking meme coin or something off of a swap for cheap, $100, and you can make 10 grand off of that, and it's basically, in that back gray area of DeFi where it's just like, it's not on, it's not on a big exchange, and Uncle Sam's not all down your shit watching everything that you're doing. That's why people love DeFi. I particularly like DeFi just because, DeFi is it's just basically, like I said, it's like you're in charge of your wallet. You don't have to deal with any central exchange, and the fees are so cheap, right? That's what I love about DeFi. Interesting, Bitcoin right now having a nice little move towards the upside, 95.59 right now. Nice little run. The crypto FUD effect is still real, guys. It is still real. Ricky said, I don't know anyone that doesn't like Trump. Yeah. I hear you. And I'm sure there's people on the other side. You know how it is, bro. You circle, you kind of, you hang out, you're around people that kind of think similar, and there's people on the other side that are thinking the complete opposite, right? Flip, you around, bro? Flip's probably over there fuming. I think that's pretty much it for our, let's look at the hourly. Oh, you're here, brother. Thanks. So the hourly right now is pretty much in the green for a lot of top 100 altcoins. Not too bad right now. If you would have told me after markets right before the FOMC meeting that Bitcoin would start moving towards the upside, I'd have been like, nah, bro, you're crazy. So a big spot for some resistance is going to be pretty much where we're coming close to, is around that 95,675 area. You can see this area. We've hit our head. Obviously, we broke above. This has been a big spot for some resistance for now. So it doesn't look bad at all. Twan, what's going on, brother? Twan, I saw your comment on the members only stream. Hell yeah, brother. Yeah, things don't look bad, guys. Things don't look bad. And if you're just joining, obviously, we have the FOMC meeting tomorrow, so we're going to have to see how this plays out. Did everybody get word that Jerome Powell is going to be reducing interest rates? Let's go do some investigation on Twitter real quick. Let's see. This just in, Jerome Powell. Eight seconds ago, the U.S. Treasury missed its May 5 deadline to release its strategic reserve reports. Oops. Meanwhile, New Hampshire just became the first state to establish its own Bitcoin reserve. That's bullish. Ricky said dominance. Damn, Bitcoin broke above that level. What's going on right now? There has to be some news that's just dropped. I'm telling you. Us little people don't know yet, but watch. It's like, I'm sure Big Money just found out Jerome Powell is probably about to fold like a sandwich tomorrow. Jerome Powell's probably about to fold like a turkey sandwich tomorrow. I know we're not running off of New Hampshire becoming the first state to establish a strategic reserve. It is bullish, but we're not running off of that. Let's pull up that dominance real quick. Well, that's not Bitcoin dominance. What the hell is that? Oh, I'm like, what is going on here? I was in the wrong thing. Oof, look at that. 65%, bro. 65%. Which is crazy, dude. That is insane. Last time Bitcoin's been to this dominance, it was February 2021, just like we read in the article. Punk with the $2, bro. I appreciate that. Sato the dog weighs 2. See who holds the majority. Yeah, we can look through the wallets real quick. Hold on. That's crazy. Remember, Ricky, when we broke below this trend right here and alts briefly went crazy. And we're like, this is it. This was it. Altcoin season. We actually jumped into a brief altcoin season when that happened. Remember, coin market cap, everything was signaling altcoin season. It had started. We weren't like deep in it, but it was like beginning. And then Bitcoin's like, nope. Little teaser there. Nope. That's crazy. Dominance is freaking crazy high. Punk wants to know Sato the dog. Is it on base, bro? What ecosystem is it? Punk, what yeah, it's on base. So is it this project right here, Sato? I'm guessing. She's pumping. Nice. I mean, decent project. It's #1 trending on base right now on DeFi. So I mean, it's up. It's running up almost 50%. So if you ever want to see like, there's a couple ways. So if you ever want to see like the top holders, you could always right here on the DEX screener. If you go down here, you could always click on holders, and you can see right here. You can see like the wallets. Now I know this all looks gibberish, but you can see like some of these top wallets. Like this top wallet, 7%. You can go. You see right here. There's a link. It'll take you over to they call it base scan, which is basically where you can look in to see the contract and stuff like that. Is this that wallet? Bro, I'm so unfamiliar. Oh, there it is right there. Yeah, this wallet holds. Oh, this is the developer. Look at this. If you look, you see it says contract creator, Sato, the developer. So this is the developer. So the dev, the top wallet is the dev, right? And then other than that, you see the other wallets. I mean, they all hold 3%, 2%, stuff like that. So I mean, it looks better than a lot of most projects, right? When most projects, when you click into there, you'll see like the first like 4 wallets will hold like 80% of the whole circulating supply. So I mean, at least looks easier on the eyes. As far as the top 9 projects really don't, they only hold about 20, maybe 25% of the project. So Craig, what's going on, bro? So Punk, that's not bad. It's not bad at all. Yeah, the contract ends in DB5. Yeah, this is it right here. This is the correct project. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't look bad, bro. The dev owns 7%. Now, the dev could be off all these wallets right here, right? That's the fun part of owning or DeFi. Is, I mean, you can have freaking 1,000 wallets, right? So a lot of times these people aren't dumb when they make projects. They know not to hold 80% in one wallet. It'll scare investors, so they'll split it all up if that's what they're doing. So I mean, who knows? You won't be able to know exactly. The only thing you can see is like these wallets. You can kind of see there's no transactions, right? So this wallet received Sato. Right here, the third biggest wallet. Look at this. All buys. These are all its transactions right here. So I would probably say that most likely the first and second wallet, we already know the first wallet is, but the second wallet is a dev as well, because they receive these this 3% circulation supply. So not a bad thing. Not a bad thing at all. Craig said he's been accumulating a ton of B3 on base. The website is sweet and the games are easy to play. Hell yeah. Oh, so it's like a game. What is it called? B3? Punk, I got you, bro. Thanks for the super chat, bro. B3 on base, Craig says. B3 is a created by the X base team. B3 is the first horizontally scaled hyper operational gaming ecosystem built on base. It's pretty cool. Market cap's up there, $100 million market cap. I'm curious to see, is this on any bigger exchanges or is it strictly through DeFi? I mean, it's on Coinbase. Oh yeah, I always forget Base is Coinbase's DeFi, right? So the pleasures of them actually like being on Base, or the developers to develop on Base, is that a lot of times if your project does really well, it'll get listed on Coinbase, right? Because it's part of their ecosystem. So, but I mean, this is on Coinbase, Mexi, Gate.io, KuCoin, Crypto.com, Kraken. I mean, it's on pretty much everything other than freaking Binance. So definitely, I mean, not a bad. I mean, it's a solid project. It looks like as far as numbers wise. So not too shabby. Well, guys. Oh, Ricky, look. We had that big spurt up, but look what we're basically. Let's pull up the 15-minute real quick. Bitcoin did have a nice little wake-up call. You can see that spot is it's a hair above right now. It's a hair above. Let's actually pull up the 5-minute here. Oh, look at that. It looks like it actually on the 5-minute it has support at this spot right here. So, oh, look at that. Told you. Flip said Chinese Commerce Secretary confirms China is engaging with trade talks. There you go. I told you, I said something's going on. Because the FOMC meeting's tomorrow. There you go. I wonder if let me do something real quick. I'm on another tab real quick. Let me pull up, see if like there's any breaking news on YouTube. Let's see here. Seeing if there's anything live right now. I don't see anything live on that yet. Supposedly India and Pakistan are about to go to war. That's all I see. Q1 earnings for Rivian just dropped. Nothing. I don't see anything yet, so we'll see. Something's driving. Something's driving it. Yeah, Powell's going to speak tomorrow at the FOMC meeting. Excuse me. Well, I will say this. If the trade talks, right, let's say China and everything gets resolved and Bitcoin doesn't break above 100, it's not going to be good. Because that's basically what the markets are running on right now is trade, the freaking trade deals, getting resolved. If that doesn't boost it up there, I don't know what to tell you guys. We're on the 4-hour, and there is a little W pattern right there, so not too bad. I think the only thing is that Bitcoin's not doing bad. We just broke 96. But freaking it's taking all the dominance, right? So I mean freaking alts are just basically not doing shit right now. Yep, Craig said we're gonna find out if the 4-year cycle has been broken in 4 months. We ain't breaking that 4-year cycle, bro. I just think it's going to be, it's different. This year's it's different. We got thrown a monkey wrench with the trade or with the tariffs at the beginning of the year. Because I think if the tariffs wouldn't have been in the mix, we probably would have rallied really hard at the beginning of the year, held it, and then we probably at around this time, because in May, we probably would be down or heading down, like a normal market, probably got into that valley where we found some kind of a low like we did a few weeks ago and then start rallying again at the end of the year like we normally do and then go into a bear market. It's kind of all freaking skewed up now. So this is what we were talking about earlier in the stream, but I was bringing this up on our member stream as well. It's like who really knows what the hell is going on right now? Well, the markets definitely are reacting positively. Let me see. I'm going to go back to the futures. Look at S&P real quick. S&P, it was moving up. It's kind of moving down a little bit right now. Now I don't have this line here as like this isn't any kind of support. I was just marking something here. I have like so many freaking Bitcoin charts. I don't even know which one to pull up right now. It's going to give us. It looks like we got back into the channel on this chart. The bear flag stays alive. Hey, pup. The bear flag stays alive. Turbo. Flip. You're still hitting your head at that 618, bro. You're still slapping the 618 right now, holding it as resistance. And to be honest, I'm not saying like this thing's heading down or anything, but you can see, or I can at least see it. Looks like a freaking bear flags formed on Turbo. All right, now I don't know. I mean, if the markets continue, like if, let's say we start seeing like trade talks or whatever the hell, and this starts boosting the markets up, I wouldn't be surprised if this stays in this channel and continues. It finally breaks above the 618. But right now you're getting resistance. You have resistance at the 618, which is around that 56 level on Turbo. So keep an eye. If you can break above that 618, which I'm sure it will, and get some support, this thing will probably start blasting off. Next big spot for some resistance is going to be the 0.5 at around the 72 area for Turbo. Yeah, Turbo's been holding strong. It really has. Compared to a lot of the other meme coins that haven't been holding. Myro's not doing too bad right now. It's up 7%. So my dog just came up here. She's like nudging me like, Dad, I'm hungry. It's dinner time. I'm looking for another chart real quick. Not that one though. Guess we'll take this one. This one shows resistance at 95.8, which we pretty much already broke above for now. So looks good. We'll see how tomorrow plays out as far as with everything. I mean, if word keeps coming out that talks with China and everything's going to get resolved, we'll probably start moving. I mean, not start. We already have, but it's funny to see. And I said this, I think, the other day, is that if we have a bad FOMC meeting, but we also get word that shit's getting resolved with China, I guarantee the tariff shit's is gonna basically out-Trump, no point intended, out-Trump the FOMC meeting, right? Because that's what's really been holding the markets down, is really the trade war and the uncertainty with that. So even if, because the market's already priced in that Jerome Powell's most likely not going to do anything tomorrow. So he comes out, yeah, we're not doing much. Depending on his wordage, I think it's going to be kind of a nothing burger. But if word's out that China, they're finding some kind of resolve and the tariffs are going to they're getting taken off, the market's probably going to be like screw Jerome Powell, we're running, Look at that. Craig said, imagine rate cuts and tariff deals all in the same week. Yeah, that'd be epic. That'd be epic. That would be epic right there. Oh, yeah. So, but yeah, guys, things look good as of now, obviously, because we're streaming the crypto FUD effect. China came out. They're like, all right, no FUD is streaming. Drop the news right now. So that's exactly what we saw. So we'll keep it moving. Tomorrow, we will be right back here tomorrow after the FOMC meeting. So we'll see how the markets react, see what's happening. I would expect, regardless, expect some volatility, right? Expect some volatility. The Asian market's going to be opening up tomorrow, later on, probably in the next few hours. So maybe they'll pile onto this, and we'll continue to see some more movement towards the upside. So with that being said, make sure you guys slap that like. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe. And we'll see you guys all tomorrow. We'll be right back here. All right, guys? All right. Thank you again. See ya.